Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us for today's online session on the Polish market. The Polish market is something like a sleeping elephant. It's a mark, or a sleeping giant. It's a really, really important market, but that's not really known by everybody. Over the last years, we've seen that the market is growing steadily, and at the moment, Poland is the fifth most important export market for German wines, currently with a volume of about more than 23 million euros per year. So what are we going to do today is we would like to show you and provide you an overview on the Polish market, and also give you quite a lot of details and facts and figures. But, you know, facts and figures are always kind of a dead material. What we want to do is bring the market alive, so you really know with what you're dealing with. You always hear me saying we. So let me introduce you to speakers. We will start with the lady, with Anna Gmurczyk. She's running the Wines of Germany office in Poland now for the last 9 years. And I'm sure a lot of you have already met her. And then she's handing over to Grzegorz Jach. He's the sales and marketing director from the well-known importer Seville, and right now on a fair. So we try to move on quite quickly so you can go back to your booth. But thank you so much for taking the time and joining us.
Good
and
morning.
Last but not least, there's Tomasz Prangiewicz.
Hello.
She's the most renowned wine journalist from Poland, a very in-depth connoisseur of wines, German wines, but also wines from around the world. So after they will all do their presentation, and after that there will be time for a question and answer section. And Anna is going to present you for the question on the activity, show you the activities of Wines of Germany in Poland in 2024. My name is Ulrike Baum, and I have the pleasure to be responsible for the German wine activities on the Polish market. So I think most of you have met me on one or the other occasion. So, but now let's move on. I would say, Anna, start. It's your turn.
Okay, thank you. Guten Morgen, guten Tag, liebe Zuhörer. Ich begrüße Sie herzlich. Wie Ulrike gerade, wie Frau Baum gesagt hat, stelle ich den Weinmarkt in Polen, und dann am Ende, wenn wir noch Zeit hätten, sage ich kurz unsere Pläne für nächstes Jahr. Zu Beginn möchte ich Ihnen kurz sagen über Polen, aber bestimmt Sie kennen Ihren Nachbarland. Nur zu kurz, da vor einem eines Monats haben wir in Polen die Parlamentwahlen, und ein Oppositionsbündnis hatte die Wahlen im Oktober gewonnen, und jetzt die rechtskonservative Partei PiS verfällt bei der Wahl in Polen, und die absolute Mehrheit, die sie haben seit 8 Jahren. Das ist etwas Neues, Politisches auf unseren polnischen Markt. Wie das ist bei der Wirtschaft, also ist ein bisschen besser, wie das war am Anfang des Jahres, weil im Februar haben wir sehr große noch Inflation, 18%. Jetzt stabilisiert sich ein bisschen die Inflationsrate. Das hat natürlich auch Einfluss für den Wein, auch für den Markt und für die Einkäufe. Also die Prognosen sind besser für nächstes Jahr, und so Ökonomisten sagen, da ist 3,26 bis 2% geschaut. Wenn es geht um Arbeitslosigkeit, ist stabil auf 5,5%, und für das nächste Jahr wird eine ähnliche Quote prognosiert. Und Deutschland ist, dass Sie wissen, das sage ich schon seit ein paar Jahren, ein wichtigster Handelspartner für Polen mit einem Anteil von fast 30%, wenn es geht um Handelsvolumen. Und sonst kurz um die allgemeinen Daten über Polen und komme ich zum Weinmarkt. Leider sage ich leider, weil wir haben keine neue Statistiken, offizielle Statistiken über die Weinkonsum in Polen. Die letzten Statistiken kommen von 2021 und Sie sehen hier auf dem Folie, da Polen ist ein Land mit einer niedrigen Weinkonsum von 2 Jahren, die laut offiziellen Statistiken sagen, dass das pro Kopf der Weinkonsum war 6,7 Liter pro Kopf. Wir zahlen das, unsere polnische Statistikamt zählt das zusammen, Wein und Honig zusammen, aber der Honigkonsum ist sehr niedrig. Von Jahr zu Jahr das Weinkonsum steigt, aber noch kann man die Polen selbst mit unseren anderen Ländern, unseren Nachbarländern nicht vergleichen. Wir sehen ein bisschen, das Ergebnis bläst aus. Und auch wichtig, dass das Wein ist drittwichtigste alkoholische Getränk in Polen nach Bier und Wodka, und über diesen Konsum, da sage ich Ihnen auch später auf meiner Präsentation. Und der Markt allgemein für Wein steigt pro Jahr und 1% und das wird sich noch ein paar Jahre noch so einhalten. Alkoholkonsum, auf dieser Folie sehen Sie die Daten zum Alkoholkonsum im Jahr 2021 von diesen letzten ein paar Jahren. Und im Vergleich zum 2020 steigt die unerhebliche Abnahme im Bierkonsum pro Person. Hingegen ist der Weinverbrauch leicht gestiegen von 6,4 Litern bis, wie früher gesagt, 6,7 Liter pro Person. Und der Wodka-Konsum verzeichnet ebenfalls eine geringe Steigerung von 3,7 Litern pro Kopf auf 3,8 Liter pro Kopf. Diese Zahlen verdeutlichen, dass Bier nach wie vor die dominierte alkoholische Getränkpräsenz in Polen ist, gefolgt von Wein und Wodka. Trends, die präsentierten Trends auf dieser Folie spiegeln die aktuellen Entwicklungen auf dem polnischen Weinmarkt. Der Schaumweinmarkt in Polen wächst und verzeichnet sowohl wertmäßig als auch mengenmäßig weiteres Wachstum. Mein Kollege Grzegorz Jak wird Ihnen später detailliert über die Zahlen und Ziffern von dem Schaummarkt sagen und präsentieren. Und insbesondere in Polen Prosecco dominiert und behält seine Dominanz im Jahr 2022 und fungiert als Wachstumskatalysator für das gesamte Schaumwein-Segment. Und das ist sehr wichtig zu sagen, also von ein paar Jahren, die Polen trinken kein Schaumwein. Es war nur für die neues Jahr, es war nur für offizielle Occasion. Jetzt trinken wir fast, nicht fast täglich, aber sehr offen für Geburtstag, für Wochenende, für Frauenmeetings und Treffen und besonders für Frauen do Prosecco. Aber ich denke, dass diese Tendenz ist sehr ähnlich. Da kennen Sie von einem eigenen Markt in Deutschland. Richtung Zero, das ist auch das ist eine Tendenz zum Konsum alkoholfreien Weine. Das gewinnt in Polen Stand an Fahrt. Und es geht nicht nur allgemein über Wein, aber auch über Bier. Also es sind verschiedene Biere, die alkoholfrei sind. Und Richtung Zero, wir haben auch den Gin Zero. Und es ist gerade mittlerweile schwer vorstellbar, ein Ladenregal oder eine Weinkarte ohne alkoholfreie Optionen zu finden. Diese Kategorie steht entjährlich von mehr als 10% und zweistellig Zuwachsraten. Und das beobachtet man Jahr zu Jahr. Auch die Bio- und Naturweine, das ist auch etwas Neues auf der Markt seit ein paar Jahren. Dazu haben auch sehr großen Einfluss unsere polnische Weingüter, weil sie machen auch Naturweine und machen auch die Orangeweine, ist das sehr populär. Besonders die Orangeweine bei den jüngeren Konsumenten, die haben Interesse an diese Weine und greifen mehr und als die das Generation plus 40. Aber mh, selbst die Nahrungsmittel und Bioprodukte sind Polen sehr geschätzt und deswegen auch die Weine und es beobachtet man auf dem Markt seit ein paar Jahren sehr viele, also die neuen Weingeschäfte, die sind verkaufen nur die Bioweine und zum Beispiel es gibt eine Kette, die von den Weingeschäften in Polen, die hat verschiedene Geschäfte in Polen und nur von diesen einige Dutzend Geschäfte, ein in Warschau ist die Natur- und Bioweine äh, verkaufen, wenn sie nur diese Weine verkaufen. Und eine positive Entwicklung kann für die deutsche Weine, das sind die Roséweine, wenn sie von Jahr zu Jahr zunehmend und an seine Beliebtheit gewinnen und diesen bieten Chancen und das bietet Chancen für weiteres Wachstum auf der Weinmarkt und das wird sich entwickelt, weil immer jetzt mehr die besonders Frauen schätzen die Roséweine und sie gucken auf diese Weine nicht auf die süße Weine, wie das war vor ein paar Jahren, aber für die Qualitätsweine. Und das freut sich auch für die gute deutsche Rosé Pinot Noir zum Beispiel. Alkoholmarkt, die Zahlen auf diesem Markt sind auch sehr positiv. Zeigen eine positive Entwicklung auf dem Alkoholmarkt in Polen. Das Wert des Alkoholmarktes, wie Sie das sehen, ist von 40 Milliarden im Jahr 2021 auf 7,4 Milliarden Zloty voriges Jahr gestiegen und steigt weiter. Die letzten Statistiken vom September 2000 von diesem Jahr zeigen, das ist ein Wachstum plus 7%. Natürlich Alkoholmarkt, das ist auch für unsere Branche auch die gute Nachricht. Und kurz zum Einblick in die Entwicklung des Weinimports nach Polen. Wie Sie sehen, jedes Jahr der Weinimport wächst und ständig wächst die gesamte Menge. Letztes Jahr 2022, die letzten Statistiken beträgt 154 Millionen Liter. Das war ein leichter Rückgang von 2% im Vergleich zu 2021. Aber trotz des Mengenrückgangs ist der Wert des Imports im Jahr 2022 auf 380 Millionen Euro gestiegen. Das ist Zuwachs von 9% gegenüber dem Vorjahr. Und das entspricht, und das sieht man, da werden wir auf der nächsten Folie sehen, das ist auch das Tendenz, wenn wir sprechen über den Export der deutschen Weine nach Polen. Also wenn sprechen wir über Wert, das steigt auch, Zuwachs ist auch groß. Und woher kommen die Weine auf dem polnischen Markt? Selbst sind wir auch Produzent, also die Polen haben auch eigene Weingüter und wir stellen auch die Weine vor. Her, aber über diese Weine und wie das der Markt sieht, wird Herr Thomas Spranger sprechen über die polnische Weingüter, weil sie haben auch großen Einfluss für unseren Konsum und auch für Konsum allgemein, die Weine und wie das Markt entwickelt sich. Und hier sehen Sie auf dem Slide, haben Sie einen Einblick in die geografische Verteilung auf der polnischen Markt und die erste Geige, das ist schon seit ein paar Jahren und das ist Italien. Und das sind führende Weinlieferant nach Polen mit 33 Millionen Liter. Dann ist Spanien mit 21 Millionen Liter und Deutschland ein bisschen kleinere Zahl, aber allerdings die polnischen Statistiken auch die Weine beinhalten, die zum Beispiel von den Reexport gehen oder zum Beispiel von unserer polnischen Kette oder Händler in Deutschland gekauft sind, von die Weine von den anderen Ländern. Oder das sind auch drinnen diese Statistiken, aber die deutschen Weine sind auf der Markt und spielen auch sehr große Rolle. Natürlich Portugal auch mit jährlich 40 Millionen Weinen. Portugal, das bestimmt, viele Weine aus Portugal sind in der bedeutendsten Handelskette, Discounter Biedronka. Dann Frankreich natürlich 8% und insbesondere die französische Weine, das sind in vielen französischen Supermärkten, weil wir haben so viele Handelsketten, das sind französische Handelskette, das war die Absatzvolumen von etwa 12 Millionen Liter. Der größte Lieferant in unserem Markt ist natürlich USA und mit Kalifornien Wein und am wichtigsten ist, dass wir haben sehr viele Weine von den osteuropäischen Staaten. Also da Georgien, für jedes Jahr wächst der Import von Georgien um 50%. Ungarn und Moldawien, das sind die Märkte, die sehr wachsen auf der Markt und die Anzahl der Weine auf dem polnischen Markt. Und wie das ist mit dem Weine aus Deutschland. Wie Sie sehen, ist das sowieso, so hat Ulrike gesagt hat, ist es immer mehr deutsche Weine auf der Markt. Wir sind den fünften, die Deutschen sind fünfte Polen ist der fünfte Absatzmarkt für die deutsche Weine und Rest uns zu sagen, dass sehen Sie auf diesen Folie, dass in den 10 Jahren wuchs Export nach Polen und über 100% und dass der Trend wird sich noch behalten. Also dann Jahr zu Jahr denke ich, das werden wir mehr die deutsche Weine haben. Es ist noch genug Platz. Aber da werde ich gleich zu den Statistiken noch kurz dass Sie können hier sehen, aus welchen Anbaugebieten die deutsche Weine auf der polnischen Markt sind. Das sind fast 200 Produzenten und von Jahr zu Jahr ist mehr natürlich die Mosel, die Weine aus Mosel mit fast 70 Produzenten das ist bedeutende Gruppe, dann Pfalz und Rheinhessen, aber das verteilt sich so wie auch die Statistiken des Deutschen Weininstitutes, was 70% der aller Exporte, deutsche Exporte, entfallen auf diesen 3 Weinanbaugebiete, also Pfalz, Rheinhessen und Moser. Und das zeigt auch, wie sich die Weine auf unseren Markt verteilen und welche sind auf unseren Markt. Herzlich laden wir die Sachsen und Saale-Unstrut, sie sind noch nicht vertretend bei unseren Importeuren und Württemberg auch nicht. Und Vertriebsstruktur, das für Ihnen, das soll das interessant sein, dass in Polen gibt es sehr viele Importeure. Also nach offiziellen Statistiken oder der Liste der Firmen, die eine Erlaubnis zu Import haben. Es ist von 700 bis 1800 Weinimporteure. Das sind verschiedene kleine Firmen. Der Markt ist das ist sehr wichtig, der Markt ist sehr fragmentiert. Aber von diesen Firmen ist 50 führende Importeure, die den Markt, auf der Markt dominieren. Aber von diesen noch 50, 10 Unternehmen machen rund 80% des Marktes aus. Das sind 10 größte Firmen, die besonders liefern zu Handelskette, Supermärkte und das ist nur einen von diesen, ist auch der Firma Zerwille von Grzegorz, der jetzt heute unser Gast, Grzegorz, unser Gast ist. Kurz noch, das sowieso bekommen Sie diese Präsentation, dass meine Zeit geht sehr schnell aus, aber wichtig für Ihnen zu sagen, die polnische Importeure sind in fast Polen angesiedelt. Natürlich die Mehrheit ist in Warschau, in der größeren Städte, aber sehr viele Importeure, die deutsche Weine im Angebot haben, das ist fast 100 Firmen, sie vertreten das ganze Land. Das spricht zusammen, wenn zum Beispiel, wenn sie sind in Krakau angesiedelt, das bedeutet nicht, dass sie die Weine nur in Krakau verkaufen, nur in ganz Polen, weil viele haben eigenen Handelsvertreter in verschiedenen Städten. Nur auf dieser Karte sehen Sie, wo ist der Hauptfirma der Importeure, aber zum Beispiel die Firmen aus Warschau liefern die Weine für ganz Polen. Das spricht keine Rolle, in welcher Stadt die Firma angesiedelt ist, nur welche Struktur hat. Das ist am wichtigsten, ob die Firma seine Handelsvertreter in der anderen Teil des Polen hat. Nur kurz für diese von euch, von Ihnen, die sind noch keine Importeure haben. Bestimmt Sie wissen, dass in Polen besteht Banderollenpflicht. Das Banderollen, das ist einfach das Zeichen, dass die Akzise und Akzisesteuer bezahlt ist. Und ab 2 Jahren, ab Juli 2021 sind in Polen die neue Banderollen, selbsthaftende Steuerbanderole. Einige von Ihnen wissen, wie das war der Problem in die ältesten Banderollen. Und jetzt ist ein bisschen einfacher für die Produzenten. Und die alten Banderollen sind schon nicht mehr gültig, kann man sich nicht aufkleben. Und kurz Slidefolie über die Möglichkeiten der Erbringung von Banderole an Flaschen, und die Produzenten entscheiden jetzt selbst, wie die Banderollen wo aufgeklebt sind. Es ist einfacher und es ist einfach schöner. Aber mit den Banderollen, denke ich, müssen wir nochmal leben, und vielleicht, weiß ich nicht, aber Hoffnungen für unsere Branche, dass in der neuen Regierung vielleicht können wir etwas ändern, aber es ist noch Zeit, und es ist so noch ein paar Wochen nach der Wahl, aber natürlich, ich denke, die Weinbranche wird darüber mit der neuen Regierung sprechen, weil es war schon so diesem Thema mit den Banderollen schon seit ein paar Jahren durchgeführt, aber ohne positive Resultate selbst für die Branche. Und kurz zu dem Gastronomiemarkt, weil das ist auch wichtig für Ihnen, weil Sie Ihre Importeure liefern auch die Weine an Gastronomie. Also der erste Quartal dieses Jahres sieht gut aus, obwohl das ist ein sehr schweres Jahr, weil steigende Inflation und Preise und Energiekosten, Arbeitskosten auch bringen dazu, dass Es ist teuer, aber und es ist eine Tendenz, dass ist Rückgang beim Kundenzahl in der Gastronomie. Aber jetzt mit der großen Hoffnungen auf der Markt in Zukunft und für das nächste Jahr, besonders für die Fine Dining Restaurants, ist besser als zum Beispiel für Pubs und Bars, wo die Leute nur das sieht ein bisschen schlechter aus. Ich war auch in der von 3 Wochen auf der Konferenz Made for Restaurant, wo wir haben unseren Weinstand und es gibt die gute, positive Hoffnungen für die kommendes Jahr und auch von einigen Restaurantsketten habe ich gehört, dass sie planen, auch die neue Lokalen zu öffnen, aber ich denke, das kommt schnell zum Positiven und es wird sich das Gastronomie steigern und es wird mehr Lokalen und Betriebe als noch von 2 Jahren. Und natürlich nach der Pandemie, wenn der Tourismus ist schon offen, da sieht man solche Tendenzen, es ist mehr Touristen, besonders auf dem Meer und in den Gebirge. Und das hat auch ein großes Einfluss und für wie das diese Gastronomie ganz aussieht. Und am Ende Kalkulationsbeispiel, Sie bekommen diese Tabelle und diese Präsentation, da können Sie das in Ruhe recherchieren und wie das alles aussieht mit dem Preis und Menge und Transportkosten und alles, wie das, also Kalkulationsspiel. Und hier ende ich meine Präsentation und danke und dann lasse ich Wort an Ulrike.
Liebe Anna, vielen Dank für diesen ersten Überblick. Ich möchte auch gar nicht so nah drauf eingehen, weil ich weiß, dass Grzegorz weiter muss. Grzegorz, I know you're very much under pressure to go back to your booth. I would just say, please start your presentation and thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me here. I will briefly try to show you the wine market scene, how it's organized. Anna already mentioned some and presented some figures, some values and numbers. Today I will be using the data that we collect from AC Nielsen. We will show the situation of wine in retail, as this particular sales channel is monitored, let's say, permanently. So if you could, Anna, please show the slides. Yes, so I will touch the problem of the current sales trends. I will show you what are the preferences among the Polish consumers, what kind of style of wine they choose, and what colors they prefer. I cannot see the presentation.
Ja, Moment.
Okay.
Ich kämpfe. Is something.
I will show you how the trade is organized and how the prick segment looks like. I will also show you some figures presenting the situation of the German wines. Here we have. Okay, please.
Yes,
next slide.
Mm-hmm.
We have collected comparison of sales results in the 12-month periods that finished at the end of September this year. You have comparison of 2 years. in volume and value, and what is the average price per regular bottle comes out of this. We have comparison of two main wine types, which is of course table wine, still wines, and we have the sparkling wine. In terms of if it comes for value, we see the effect of the inflation, as consumer had to spend more for bottle of table wine or bottle of a sparkling wine, but we see the slowdown in consumption in the volume. Because Poles bought less bottles in those 2 years, but in general, the Polish consumer buy approximately 180 million bottles of all of those two types of wine, so table wine and sparkling wine. We don't have the information the volume and the value of the sales in the HoReCa segment, but because this market is not monitored as it is the retail and the trade in retail. But according to my let's say experience and some estimation, we can say that the value of wine sales in gastronomy, in restaurants, bars, in general in HoReCa accounts for approximately 1 billion zloty annual. Please show the next slide. Regarding the organization of the trade, you see here the list of 20 top companies that are delivering wines. Some of them are also involved in the direct import. Some of them probably you know, because these are the international or European players like Schwarz Group, for instance, Auchan, Carrefour, Leclerc, or Aldi. Here you have the rank that is prepared based on the market share of wine, and also you have the information on the right column about the number of stores that is controlled or that is owned by these presented operators, and as you see on the top of the list, we have a company called Jeronimo Martins. This is the strongest retailer in Poland that operates in discount segment, that also is involved in direct importation of wine. And this is an example about the power of promotion of such player, because Jeronimo Martins and with its Portuguese origin has very significant impact into the promotion of their local products, which are the Portuguese wines. In general, we have approximately 65,000 shops in Poland having the license to sell wine. So this is the general scale of the retail distribution, but approximately 70% of the sales is delivered by those mentioned operators on the matrix. Please show the next slide. Yeah, here we have the matrix presenting the consumption model. What are the local preferences for color or for the style of the wine? Also, in this comparison, you can see the changes, the current trends. And what is very significant, what is very special, also the situation of the consumption is not very, let's say, positive. But you can see how the white wines developing. What is the volume of increase? So it might be also some direction, some suggestion in which direction, where to go, what to offer on the Polish market to the Polish consumer, because we see in the last at least 5 years that the consumers move especially to white wines, which increases its share in the consumption model. On the second part of this matrix, you see the split of styles and also the trends within the last 2 years. We see the growth of dry wines, which continues as well. But if you compare the share and the volume, the popularity of two other styles, which are semi-sweet and semi-dry wines, you can see how those types of wines are important for the Polish average consumer. And this is another, let's say, example to consider when you are planning to launch your activities or to develop your presence in Poland. Let's move to the next part. Yes, then you have the information about main 3 channels of the shops, how the situation evolves. And you have the split of the trade between small shops, which are responsible for approximately 26% of the total turnover in the period of 12 months till the end of September this year. And you see also in this line the significant decline. But as we see that the consumption in terms of the volume is flat, with some slight correction. So we see also the migration of the customers, migration of the consumption or demand to the discounters, which in those in such situation that we have with the inflation, with uncertainty in economy. We see that discounters are taking over the significant part of consumption, and they are beneficial out of this situation. The next comparison refers to consumption split or demand of the price segments. You have 5 types that is identified by Nielsen, and here we have the order starting from economy, which are the wines up to 12 zloty per bottle, per regular bottle. And this segment, as we see, grows very rapidly, rapidly of extra 2 million liters year to year. Also, we see the decline in the other segments above 12 zloty, and economy and mainstream segments are responsible for more than 50% of the consumption. So we see the changes in this structure. And we see also on the market that especially discounters give much more space for the private labels. And also they are trying to convince to recruit the customers with the introduction of their own brands at a very competitive price point. So here you have here you can see the effect of such strategy. Okay, let's move to the next slide. Here you have the mention split by price segments. So economy and mainstream even is much more than 50% of the demand, because it's as you see, these are the 33% market shares plus 44% for the mainstream.
Degas, would you please be so kind and put some prices? What does it mean, economy?
Yes, of course.
Euros?
So economy is up to 12 zloty, which is let me calculate it.
€3.
It's approximately €3, as Tomek said. Mainstream segment is from 3 up to 4.5 euro per bottle. We talk about regular bottles, and premium is 20-30 zloty, which is 4.5 up to 6 or up to 6.5, and the rest of the market. These are the top premium wines and ultra premium wines. You see what is the size, very small size of such rotation.
Not unfamiliar to our market.
Yes, it's good to know what buyers expect from the suppliers. What works and what doesn't work, really. Okay, let's move. Please, Anya. I have collected more detailed data I had an access to about German wines in shop format. So here you can see the result, the performance of the German table wines. So no without sects in the last calendar year of 2022. So German wines, you can see the situation by shop formats. And also the size of the sales. The information refers to liters. So if we can easily calculate that it's about 9 million bottles of German wines that were bought in 2022 in the shops. What is significant, and which does not refer to the previous reports, as you saw, the important position of the hyper and supermarkets, because those type of shops are responsible for nearly 50% of sales. It might be due to the size of the shelf that is dedicated, reserved for the German wines, because especially in hypermarkets, in the large stores, you can see very wide selection of German offer. This is it might be one of the reason about position of German of hypermarket sales in overall performance of the German wines. Okay, let's move to the some conclusions. I have mentioned you here. You have the some answers, some directions, and the based on the chances that are due to the present trends, the present consumption model. As Germany is mainly producer of the white type varieties, you are specialist in it. So the one of the chances for sure is the growing demand for white wines. And as Poles prefer semi-dry and semi-sweet styles, of course there is also strong position of the dry wine taste. So these are also some directions to consider. And as Poland is still relatively small market in terms of the consumption per capita of wine, and all of the players believe in the further positive consumption growth. And if you consider that the German vineyards are very near to the second after France in terms of the consumers size of the market, you have quite good position, which also has an impact for logistic advantages, because this neighborhood, the well-developed infrastructure in Poland, or under infrastructure under development, it gives you some advantages to deliver at lower costs, and also to deliver quicker to Poland, which might be also some benefits out of this location. One of the other elements refers to the new generation of consumers. Anya mentioned about zero segment. I would also add here, because we can see the influence of the newcomers to the category, and those newcomers are perceiving wine not necessarily very traditionally. Those new generation of the consumers are very open-minded and are willing to try novelties, innovative products. So except zero alcohol or low alcohol wines, we see the positive approach or growing demand for flavored wines, which are of course behind the traditional approach, but also gives some chances to grow in Poland, to find own niche among the other suppliers, as Polish wine supplier market is very competitive. We have approximately 1,000 company registered that are active in the wine import. So of course it's up to you your business strategy. Where do you position your assortment? What is your philosophy? But in this brief presentation, I tried to show you some marks, some directions in which you could consider to go with. So this is everything from my side. Thank you very much for having me again, and I wish you good luck and Merry Christmas.
Thanks so much for your presentation. So you actually planted some ideas in my mind. But there was, just before we let you rush, just one more question. One of the attendees wanted to know, what about a market? Is there a market for wines in cans? Especially now talking about a new generation entering the market?
It embraces in this innovative category. There are some tries to market such packaging in shops. There are already some big players who are trying to take over this consumption. So for sure there is a chance to consider. Yes, of course.
So thank you. I promise that's the last question. I know you need to rush. So thanks again for taking the time during the fair, and good luck at your fair.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And
bye
Merry
bye.
Christmas.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. So that's been quite a lot of information. So Tomasz, I know you also have such a long experience in the wine industry, and you've met so many people. You talk, yeah, your life is more or less, it's wine. So I think we hand over to you, and please start.
Thank you. And good morning, everybody, first of all. I would like to give a touch of optimism after the presentation of Grzegorz, because probably we are ending the most difficult year in the last 2 decades for Poland, which is the post-COVID situation, super high inflation that we experienced at the beginning of the year, plus, of course, the second year of war in Ukraine, which impact Poland as a frontier country a lot. So I believe that those decisions taken, the consumer decisions taken by Polish people to buy cheaper wines, to drink a little bit less, it's temporary. It's not a trend. I believe it's the experience of the last 2 years. So let me talk about a little bit about the wine consumers more than the market, because we have all this information. So I will skip this slide because you heard everything. Maybe the one important thing is, according to the newest data, which was also a surprise for me, because wine was always number 3 in this pyramid of consumption in Poland, after beer and vodka and spirits. And according to the latest data, we drink in total more wine than spirits, which is a very positive trend. So we can go to the next slide. What is also very important, this is data according to Wine Intelligence, that you can see that a quarter of Poland's adult population drinks wine at least twice a year, which is okay. And we have a really pretty big number of weekly wine drinkers. This is important. On the next slide, you will see it maybe more precise. Certainly, the generation which is responsible for this growth is the millennials, and let's say the younger generation X, as I am, or I pretend to be. Those people used to drink wine on a daily basis. Of course, we have to remember one thing. It's a huge difference in Poland between the big cities and the smaller cities and province. I would say that the data we have, especially the consumption per capita, is much, much higher in Warsaw, Kraków, Poznań, in all those bigger cities than the rest of the country, where probably it's quite difficult to buy a decent wine of the bottle, except, of course, the discount range. What is important, slightly more women used to drink wine than men. Wine was considered for a long time as a women drink in Poland, but I believe it changed as well. But in general, women are more intelligent and more forward than men, not only in Poland, so it's normal, I believe. Let's go to the next slide. As I said, millennials are this superpower in both terms, consumers, but also opinion leaders, also the trendsetters, because we have a new generation of sommeliers, bartenders, people who some years ago started their careers in England, in Ireland, or in the Western countries, came back with a strong education, with a completely new approach. So like our two master sommeliers we have in Poland, they both were trained in top restaurants in London and England. But they decided to come back, seeing the perspective, much better perspectives in Poland to grow their businesses. And those people, what is very interesting and important for you, they are very open for German wine, especially Riesling. So they are quite a important trendsetters, I believe. They have no prejudice, which is a pros and con as well, because we are not a country that get crazy about the new vintage of Bordeaux or en primeur selling or new vintage of Burgundy. We are super open-minded. We try new wines from everywhere, which is good, but it means also that people are not very not have a big fidelity to the market, so they can change from one month to another, following the new trend. And don't forget that except the traditional wine countries, that I include Germany, we have really a whole new world, plus Central and Southern Europe banging on our door, like Croatia, Bulgaria, Romania, Moldova, all these countries. They would love to sell wines on Polish market, and they strengthen their efforts to do that. As Grzegorz said, Poles are, especially millennials, are very open for experiment. So even if it's niche of the niche, it's a pretty nice market for all the natural wines, for pet nuts, all these crazy wines. Maybe this is more closer to my heart, but in a global situation, we can also say that yes, flavorized wine, wines in cans, it's a future as well, because people have no prejudice, as it was in the past. Like I remember that having 3 liters of wine consumption per capita 10, 15 years ago, this older generation, baby boomers generation, was very difficult to accept the screw caps. Now screw cap is not a problem in Poland. So it's also a sign of change. So young people, they spend time out regularly. They consume wine much more frequently. It's not just by occasion. It's not a Sunday dinner or Christmas. They drink wine on a daily basis. And for a lot of them, the wine has a social context. So it's trendy to drink wine, not to drink vodka or spirits, because it shows them in a better view, better situation. Yeah. So the next slide, please. Yes, this is quite interesting for me. You can see the percentage of the positive answers for the questions. Like most of the people drink wine because it gives them pleasure, and this is very good. Certainly, they look for the best quality for the budget they have. And what is nice, they don't buy like I remember the baby boomers. I will not read all these things. You can read it on your own. But I remember that the baby boomers generation, people were much more conservative. They were looking for the best wine they like, and they were keeping one or two or three brands forever. So it was quite difficult to change their habits. Youngsters treat the or millennials or even Generation X, they treat wine buying as an adventure. They travel a lot, as I said, so they take another decisions, much more liberal, much more open, and it's important to their lifestyle, as I said. And a lot of them, they are interested in wine, not just as an alcohol drink, but much more. I will talk about it in a minute. So we can have a next slide, please. That's interesting. COVID has quite a positive influence, paradoxically, on wine education and wine consumption in Poland, as people were not able to go to the restaurants, so they were buying better wine, more expensive wine in the shops, also better food, better quality food, and cooking at home, but also learning. My company, we are running not only the magazine, but also the wine school, and that was enormous. How many master classes we organize, shipping wine in a small bottles to the people all around the country. So we had every week at least 4 different master classes, and we saw that interest not only of drinking but also to educate, to learn something about wine was very, very high. So here you can see that the answers for this better quality wine, treat myself to a better quality wine, that was the most important answer for the millennials, then for Gen X, then average, less for baby boomers and less for the youngest segment of the market. Let's go to the next slide. So here you can see the frequency of wine consumption. The good thing is that we have at least 15% of people drinking wine several times per week, which is a really nice number. But even the strongest category, 1 to 3 times per month, 27%, almost 1/3 of the wine consumers, it's really or once a week, 31%. It's a really nice statistic. It's a very, very big change in Polish wine consumption. Okay, let's go. Yeah. As you see, people are really open for the new and different styles of wine. Millennials leading this category. Only 10% of people, let's say, with a maximum percentage of positive answers from Generation Z, so from the youngsters, it's a price. And baby boomers, as I said before, they drink what they like, and they are not as open for the new kind of wines as it was before. Okay, the next slide. What is important, how the wine scene is developing in Poland. In every bigger city in Warsaw, you have at least 1, 2, certainly much more, like in Warsaw or Kraków or Poznań, 3 leading cities. You have wine bars or gastro bars. Sommelier is not a unique job now in Poland. The restaurants, more and more, they are absolutely sure they have to hire the sommeliers, they have to hire wine managers, people who are responsible for wine lists. And I have to say, those wine lists are much more interesting, more open than it was 10 or 15 years ago, when usually wine list was prepared by one bigger wine distributor. So nevertheless, if you were in an Indian restaurant or in Chinese or in Polish, you had the same wine list prepared by the same wine distributor, which was completely stupid. Now it's absolutely different. People are crazy about food in Poland. You can see the popularity on every segment. The books, the TV programs, podcasts, and people love to cook. But also, as much as they can, they love to go to the different type of restaurants. And finally, after many years, they understood that the wine, it's a part of the culinary culture. So more and more wine is connected to gastronomy, which was always a problem. That's probably the answer why these two categories that Grzegorz mentioned, semi-dry and semi-sweet wines, were so popular, because Poles were not having wine and food together. Poles were in the past much afraid about acidity, high acidity in wines, or high tannins. So from my experience, the term semi-dry wine is not necessarily connected to sugar. It's more connected in everyday talk in Poland to wine which is milder, which is not so aggressive with acidity, or in terms of red wines, tannins. So this is a slightly misunderstanding, but certainly it reflects in the number of wines of the segments that you saw, that still this residual sugar, a little bit of residual sugar is important for mass consumers. But I believe this is exactly the same situation in Germany.
It is.
As I said, the wine consumption and wine development is strongly connected to the bigger cities. I mentioned Warsaw, Kraków, Poznań, but also Wrocław, Gdańsk. Also the cities like Lublin, for example, on the east, I see the blooming culture of wine, which is very nice. Korawin changed a lot in the sales of premium wines. You have now a lot of wine bars or modern restaurants offers premium wines, or really top premium wines served by Korawin. So sommeliers are no more afraid to open a more expensive bottle because they can sell it through Korawin, which means it's a good business, and a lot of people use it, really. So the next slide, please. Oh, I know those people. Okay. There's really plenty of wine events. I remember when I started my career as a wine journalist, and really to find out the tasting, it was like a big secret, and that was a really privileged position if you knew that somewhere in the city the bottle will be open for some other people and you can try the wine. Now we have plenty of events, seasonal, but also annual events, plenty of master classes, courses, seminars, big festivals. Actually, I don't even know which festival Grzegorz is taking part today, because we had a wine festival earlier this week. We have another one next week. So you had a lot of B2B, but also private consumer events like this. Wine fairs, certainly. This picture is taken from the Warsaw Wine Experience, the big wine event which we organize as a Ferment, as our magazine annually. And as I remember, that was the Icons of Riesling. Yes, Anya? So we have
Yes.
a pretty nice collection of bottles, fully sold out, fully sold out. But certainly, there's a lot of events also dedicated to German wine. As I said before, maybe, or maybe not to everybody, I had the pleasure to run masterclass for sommeliers just yesterday in Łódź, which is quite important and big city in the center of Poland as well, with a big interest. I'm a German wine educator, so that was under the umbrella of German Wine Academy. And we have more and more professional courses like that, but we run also a lot of master classes for wine lovers. And I have to say that if it's Riesling is sold out, if it's Pinot, it's usually sold out. So in generally, among the wine lovers, German wine has a very, very solid position. And I have to mention two very big events and events that people adore to take part. It's a Riesling Week. Anya will tell you probably better numbers, how many restaurants used to take now in this year in Riesling Week event. But as I see, for example, Riesling, and nowadays it's Riesling and Pinot and Co. German Wine Festival, which is run in Poland for more than a decade. It's a really one of the big fest of German wine that I have a pleasure also to take part, and I did a lot of master classes during this festival as well. So we have to just a few words about the media. You can see my magazine that I'm editor-in-chief, the cover. We have two wine magazines. Thanks God, completely different magazines. Our magazine is, let's say, I don't want to call it intellectual, but it's quite a serious analysis, but analyzes in terms of not the numbers, but putting wine into the cultural and social context. The second magazine is dedicated to the very basic knowledge, which is very good because I believe that two of them are dedicated to different part of society, different part of wine lovers, different group of wine lovers, which is very good. Not so much online magazines. I have to mention that slowly, wine is coming back to the normal press. We have now two wine columns in opinion magazines. Wine is Daily, Rzeczpospolita, and second is Polityka. So really serious titles with weekly wine columns, very good. Wine bloggers, I would say that probably like everywhere in the world, this boom of wine blogging is on decline now. But on the other hand, the strongest wine blogs, the most serious wine blogs are still on the market. So we like to cooperate with those people. We like to invite them also for the events and masterclasses we organize. Those who remain are really quite a serious bloggers with a good education and a good background. Social media is blooming, certainly, from TikTok to Facebook. Depends on the channels, depends on the generation as well. We have a couple of quite important YouTubers on wine, usually for Gen Z, for the basic education. Radio, I have my weekly radio program for years about wine, which is very nice. Television, absolutely not. I mean, you can find some documentaries now on the streaming platforms, but in regular TV, I would say that still the stations, doesn't matter if it's public or private, because of our anti-alcoholism law, television is particularly afraid of talking about wine. So this is not really a channel that would be open for wine in Poland. Okay, the next slide. So let's talk a little bit about Polish wine. I was asked to present you briefly the situation. So first of all, you have to know the scale. For me, the newest data from November this year that we have 760 hectares of wine. It's a brilliant information because it's 7 times more we had 10 years ago. But certainly we can compare mainly only to Hessische Bergstraße in terms of the size. And as you will see, those 760 hectares are spread all around the country. We have more than 500 or almost 600 producers registered, which is important, registered, but not necessarily already producing wine. It's opposite than it was 10 years ago. First, 10 years ago, people were establishing the vineyard, and then they were registering the company. Now it's opposite. First, it's registration, then start of production. So still, the average size of vineyard in Poland is less than 1.5 hectare. Okay, let's go to the next. As you can see, the map, we have spread vineyards all over the country, but certainly the southern and western stripe of Poland is most successful because of climate, certainly. Climate changes are in favor of Polish wine development. The strongest today is the region which is next to the western border, Lubuskie. In fact, historically, that was the most eastern German, traditional German wine region, Grünberg. And the good thing is that that was the traditional region for sparkling wine because of the very cool climate. And nowadays, this region is leading in sparkling wine, that I will say a couple of words more in a moment. Lesser Poland around Krakow and Lower Silesia, those are the warmest part, the most sunny part of Poland. So this is quite logic. Okay, let's go to the next slide. In terms of grapes, we have let's say a small battle between hybrids believers and Vitis vinifera believers, but the most smart wine growers, they have both Vitis vinifera and the modern pewees, just dedicated to the climate and to the position like we have in Poland. So let me name just a couple of the most popular hybrids. Are definitely Solaris is number one, but we have a good example of Seyval Blanc, Johanniter, which is very versatile in Poland. Sauvignon Gris is definitely the new star of Polish vineyards, and every new vineyard, every new winery you heard about, they usually have Sauvignon Gris. Reds are still Rondo and Regent, not my favorite varieties, but probably you know it pretty well from Germany. And Cabernet-like varieties like Cabernet Cortis or Cabernet d'Orza are also quite popular. In terms of vinifera, there is no better variety than Riesling in Poland, which is very good. And I have to say that after quite a long period that Riesling was for the first time planted in Poland, we have a couple of significant, really good wines. We had a very good tasting of 40 Polish Rieslings for our magazine just a month ago, and that was a pure pleasure to taste it. Of course, the vineyards are young, so we are not talking about the structure, but the classic flavors, classic style of Riesling it's quite significant and recognizable. Talking about the very good examples of vinifera, we have a pretty good Pinot Gris, Pinot Blanc, so Grauburgunder, Weissburgunder, and Chardonnay, Gewürztraminer. All those varieties has a higher acidity than, let's say, in Italy or France or even in southern Germany, which in my opinion gives them a little bit more energy. In terms of red wines, Pinot Noir is the same situation like with Riesling. All who got enough know-how to plant and take care about Pinot Noir is quite successful, and I'm really glad that we have so good Pinot Noir in Poland now. Certainly, this is very fragile variety, and sometimes it's quite crazy that in the same position in 2018 we had the Pinot Noirs in Lower Silesia with an alcohol level of 14%, and the next year in 2019 only 10.5. That's the differences that we face in Polish vineyards. Zweigelt, quite resistant variety, and has a pretty strong position among the Vitis vinifera, and as I mentioned before, maybe Dornfelder. Couple of producers they start with Dornfelder as they start with Lemberger. Of course, in Poland it's called Blaufränkisch, but you know exactly what I mean. Okay, let's move. Yeah.
Thomas, one question, because in Germany, there's also quite a lot of PVs coming up. So in Poland, are they used to blend them in, or they're used as Johanniter?
Usually, we have the monovarietals. I have to say that probably because blending, it needs a really experience and skills. So we don't have many blends in Poland, but I would say it's a question of future. Because the most developed and educated winemakers, they already started with blends, but usually people make the monovarietals. Yeah, that's the answer for your question.
Thank you.
In terms of styles, the dominant style is a fresh young white wine. Not too many wines are keen on longer maturation. As I said, young vineyards. This is the most important reason, and lack of experience is the second. But if we are talking about more experienced people, they already have different type of barrels. They already have amphoras. They have concrete eggs. So they try with maturation as well. Rosé, it's still I believe there's a big push from the specialists and wine critics to winemakers to make more rosé, especially from hybrids, than the red wines. I'm not sure about the will of the producers, but we have pretty nice number of rosé. And I believe that our, especially Rondo regions or different other hybrids like Marshall Forge, Leon Millot that we have in the vineyards pretend to be better as a rosé than a red wine. Yeah, so fresh red wines, not too many red wines for the longer maturation. A lot of experiments with natural wine, with orange wine, so longer maceration on the skin. And something that we were expecting for last 20 years, sparklings, because certainly with our climate, it's natural to have a big number of sparklings, but it needed time to get know-how, to get experience. But nowadays, many producers start to make a different type of sparklings, traditional methods, but also the saturation, but also the autoclave, the Prosecco style, Charmat method wines. But I would say that we even have, it's a private story because it's just story of one man, a French guy who came to the western part of the city, to Krosno Odrzańskie, and he influenced the other winemakers from around. So we have one particular city, it's called Krosno Odrzańskie, which is like a capital of Polish sparkling, because all the producers, all 5 producers, are concentrated on the sparklings. And I believe this is a future. I would love to have this effect like in England, for example, with sparklings in Poland. And I believe it's possible, because so far the results are very good. Okay. So the image of Polish wine, you have to remember that Polish wine was considered for older generation as a industrial product of communist factories, which was not really wine. It was like based on fruit with added spirit. So Polish wine was treated like that. So when 20 years ago we had the first Polish wines available, people are very afraid of that. So It's, of course, it's still niche product with a relatively low availability and very high price, because average price for Polish wine is 10, 12 euro, which is considered a lot in Poland. But on the other hand, because of just interest or a kind of patriotism, a lot of people are able to pay those money for Polish wines. I said about the cliches and stereotypes. I believe the youngsters, the younger generation, has no this cliche no more, and Polish wine is again another category, another novelty that they are very interested in. I think that the quite important thing is this last point, the lack of attachment to the original product, because during the communism, Polish gastronomy and everything which was regional was really demolished because of the quite frequent changes in demography. People were pushed from one part of the country to the other, and a lot of these regional traditions, culinary traditions, were broken. So we have to rebuild it. The positive side is that Polish wine is definitely trendy, and as I said, especially young generation, Gen Z and millennials, they are asking for Polish wine. What is good, also foreigners ask for Polish wine. So in most of the top restaurants and wine bars, you can have at least one producer, usually much more. There's a lot of positive publications in the lifestyle press, even if people are not really knowledgeable about wine. They like this picture, this, I'm sorry, I hate it, but it's used so many times that I have to repeat it. Polish Tuscany, wherever there's a hill covered by vineyard, it is called already Polish Tuscany. We have a private club of friends that we are counting and listing Polish Tuscanys. They are everywhere. Even if it's flatland, it's Tuscany, doesn't matter. It's a joke, of course. But it's important that in a professional press, Polish wine is absolutely permanent. So all the magazines, all the blogs, all the publications treat now Polish wine as any other wine in the world. So it's not like once a year we will write about Polish wine. Not, it's on everyday occasion. And as I said, it's a huge interest of distributors, restaurants, sommeliers. They know that it's good to sell Polish wine, and it's good to offer Polish wine to many different type of consumers. Last but not least, COVID changed completely approach to enotourism. Especially 2020 was a blooming year for Polish enotourism, because people were afraid to go abroad with all the restrictions. They decided to spend time in Poland, and a lot of them, they decided to go to the Polish vineyards. And I was really surprised with a very positive approach of most of the wineries, who prepared at least tasting platforms, picnics, food trucks, but also accommodation, also some more, let's say, develop gastronomy. So this is blooming. We have more than 50 camper-friendly vineyards that you can come with your camper and spend the night in the vineyard, which is really nice. So this is a huge development, and yes, I would be happy to have your wines in Poland, but I would be happy also to have you spending at least one night in the Polish vineyards. Sometimes maybe at your friends, because a lot of people who worked in Germany in the vineyards, they developed their own vineyards in Poland as well. So that's all from my side, but certainly I will be able and happy to answer your questions if you have anything to ask.
That's really a lot of information. Thank you so much for sharing.
Sorry, Ulrike, you asked me about the classification of Polish wines. Yes. That someone probably asked about that. No, we have no classification so far. We have nothing like appellation or registered names. We have informal regions, macro regions, like in Germany, but it's not connected to any particular law. And personally, I believe this is too early for that, because everybody plans everything everywhere. So we have to wait a little bit to stabilize the situation.
Oh, thank you so much. I really think the Polish wine industry is helping us, because you plant exactly the great varieties that we are providing. People get more interested in wines. So I think that's really, really generally helpful. But I know we overspent already. And Anna, so could you please squeeze your presentation, and we will, there are some information that we will give you with the final presentation that will be sent to you. So we will add a list of the influencers, we will a list of the wine fairs, and some of the most important importers.
Yes, also kurz zu unseren Plänen für nächstes Jahr. Also wir bleiben bei derselben Veranstaltungen oder ähnlichen, die wir dieses Jahr durchgeführt haben und organisiert haben. Also wir sind ganze Zeit sehr nah zu der Branche, zu der Gastronomie und zu unseren Partner. Also wir werden fortführen unsere Kooperation mit unseren Partnern, zum Beispiel mit Winterhalter, mit der Firma Winterhalter. Wir sind beim Gastronomiefachmesse, wir werden auf Eurogastro und in Smaki im März. Dieses Jahr waren wir auf der Smaki vertreten mit unserem Weinstand. Also immer bei solchen Veranstaltungen, bei diesen allen, die es jetzt genannt, auf diesen Slides sehen Sie, arbeiten wir zusammen mit Importeuren, also mit ihre Vertreter auf unserem polnischen Markt. Wir kaufen und nehmen die Weine von den Importeuren meistens, auch meistens Veranstaltungen. Wir bekommen einfach die Weine von den Importeuren, die deutsche Weine von den Importeuren zu uns präsentieren wir das auf den Weinständen. Immer haben wir den Sommeliers auf den Stand, die helfen uns, die Weine zu präsentieren. Also wie gesagt, am März werden wir auch 2 Veranstaltungen, gastronomische Veranstaltungen in Warschau. Dann nehmen wir teil in einer Konferenz Made for Restaurant. Das ist auch die größte Konferenz für die Horeca, 400 Teilnehmer. Wir sind Partner der polnischen Sommeliersverbandes, also wir sind immer dabei bei dem Masterclass, Weinstände, beim Finalen der Polenmeisterschaften. Nächstes Jahr wird nur eine Polenmeisterschaften stattfinden, nicht die jungen Sommeliers, sind jetzt 2 Jahre, also werden wir nicht dabei sein. Und wir kehren zu Warsaw Wine Experience mit auch mit Weinstand, aber das wird Oktober, 2-tägige Veranstaltung, ein Tag für Weinliebhaber und 2. für die Branche. Riesling Pinot Co., die Datum ist schon fest für nächstes Jahr, 18. April. Wir natürlich laden die neue Produzenten, die wollen die Partner finden zur Teilnahme. Die Plätze sind so geteilt, dass wir haben Platz für die neuen Produzenten, die waren noch nie auf der Markt und suchen die Kontakte, aber auch die Importeure mit seinem Weinportfolio, deutsche Weinportfolio sind immer auch dabei, weil wir haben als Gäste die Gastronomie, also auch die Importeure, die suchen die neuen Kontakte, und am Abend immer machen wir diese Veranstaltung zusammen mit der AHK, wo wir sind vertreten, und unser Büro ist tätig. Und das ist auch für die Mitgliedsunternehmen und für die Weinliebhaber und für die großen Gremien der Leute. Ja, das war von dieses Jahr, okay. Und Riesling Quicks, Nächstes Jahr werden wir die 10. Ausgaben dieser großen Aktion haben. Dieses Jahr waren 500 Partner dabei, Hälfte Gastronomie und Hälfte Weinhandelskette, Weinfachshops. Wir sind zufrieden von dieser Branche, sehr große Interesse, aber im Laufe eines Monats sind Rieslinge und andere deutsche Weine auf der Markt verkauft. Es sind sehr viele Masterclass, viele Seminare und Verkostungen, die selbst die Importeure führen. Gleich einige von Ihnen waren auch dabei, weil so ich weiß, die Importeure laden seine Produzenten nach Polen und führen eigene Masterclass und Verkostungen und organisieren das auch selbst, weil das ist der gute Zeit und auch die gute Wetter im Juni für die Weißweine und das alles zu organisieren. Also haben Sie das im Kopf, ja, wenn der Importeur sagt, dass sie nimmt auch teil, weil die meistens wollen auch seine Produzenten nach Polen in dieser Zeit einzuladen. Und wir arbeiten sehr eng mit Deutscher Zentrale für Tourismus. Also wir sind immer da, wenn sie machen eine PR-Veranstaltung, also immer die deutschen Weine sind verschenkt. Und sie vergessen nicht über uns, als Gifts oder als Verkostung sind deutsche Weine immer dabei. Und auch bei allen Veranstaltungen der AHK Polen. Nächstes Jahr werden wir 2 große Veranstaltungen haben, also Sommerabend der AHK und eine sehr große AHK-Europa-Konferenz. Und deutsche Weine sind im Hauptpunkt, also ist immer Stand. Und natürlich die AHK kauft diese Weine von der polnischen Importeure. Wir zeigen immer die Weine, die auf der Markt sind. Also das ist auch sogenannte Teil von unserem Marketing, dass immer versuchen wir die deutsche Weine zu zeigen. Also die sieht so aus, das ist die Weinkarte, auch mit den Namen der Weine, aber auch daneben steht, wo da kann man diese Weine kaufen bei den kleineren Veranstaltungen, dass die Leute, die von den AHK eingeladen sind, haben auch die Möglichkeit, gucken, wenn sie etwas verkosten, wo sie die Weine kaufen dürfen. Das hilft die Branche, weil viele Unternehmen, die unsere Gäste sind, also die Gäste der AHK sind, dann kaufen die Weine als Präsent für seine Kunden. Und da machen wir nächstes Jahr auch die weitere Zusammenarbeit mit AHK bei allen Veranstaltungen. Und jetzt auf diesen Folie sehen Sie einige Bilder von unserer German Wine Akademie. Wir haben dieses Jahr das erste Mal gehabt, also voriges Jahr haben wir 4 Weinedukatoren. Die Tomasz ist einer von diesen Mann, einer in Süd, Mariusz Kapczyński, Szymon Milonas aus Warschau und Maciek aus Posen, also in Polen. Wir sind so gesiedelt mit unseren Edukatoren und sie organisieren viele Schulungen für Weinliebhaber, aber auch in unseren Namen für die Branche. Also dieses Jahr haben wir 7 und 8 schon organisiert und wir haben fast 100 Absolventen und 100 Personen aus der Branche, aber das ist wichtig von uns. Von der Branche haben uns die Zertifikate bekommen. Vielleicht nicht alle, war gestern war eine Inuit-Schulung, die Thomas hat gesagt, und vorgestern war eine Schulung, große Schulung in Nordpolen, in Stettin. Aber die Kurse in German Wine Academy wird kontinuiert nächstes Jahr und wir planen schon mit Level 2 Advanced. Die haben wir für dieses Jahr nur die für Level 1 für Beginner organisiert. Und das kurz zu unseren Aktivitäten für nächstes Jahr.
Ja, vielen Dank, Anna. Ja, das war wirklich nur kurz. Natürlich findet auf dem polnischen Markt viel statt, um deutsche Weine zu promoten. So thank you so much for everybody, for the speakers spending their time giving you your insight on the market, but also thank you for the attendees for being so patient, because I think we overrun the time quite a bit. So Anna, Thomas, thank you so much. And now I'll do the rest in German. Selbstverständlich schicken wir Ihnen die Präsentation gerne zu. Wir ergänzen da noch einige Angaben, die ich jetzt im Chat rausgelesen habe, die Sie gerne hätten. Sie bekommen die dann zeitnah zugesandt, und sonst bleibt mir nur zu sagen, wenn Sie irgendwelche Fragen, Anregungen haben, bitte kommen Sie direkt auf mich oder auf Anna zu. Wir freuen uns immer, im direkten Kontakt mit Ihnen zu stehen. Vielen Dank also nochmal für Ihr Interesse. Weiterhin viel Erfolg oder überhaupt viel Erfolg bei der Bearbeitung des polnischen Marktes. Ja, und ich glaube, es ist zwar noch nicht ganz Dezember, aber ich traue es mich schon mal zu sagen. Frohe Weihnachten und alles Gute für Sie. Thank you for everybody for joining. Have a very good time. Enjoy it and take care. And see you soon. Bye.
Goodbye.
Vielen
Merry
Dank.
Christmas.
Danke.
Frohe Weihnachten.
Frohe Weihnachten. Macht's gut. Tschüss.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Tschüss.